everybody, what's up? I'm Cara. Welcome to another episode of Stories from the Dirt. I have, of course, my trusty assistant here, Avis, and her teammate, Steph. Hey, ladies, how are you?
Hi. Doing well.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing good. It's kind of dreary today, but other than that, doing pretty good.
Oh, it's finally sunny here. It's been raining since Saturday and it's finally sunny here. I'm so excited.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
always
we've been
sunny.
having dreary weather for what feels like months. Like, I want to talk to the manager of Southern California because I don't know why I'm paying this rent right now. It's been
Yeah, seriously.
cold, misty, dreary. I'm looking forward to summer for sure.
Oh, I
Oh,
bet. Well, Avis, we already know a lot about you. Steph, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are in Southern California?
Yes, yep. I live in Los Angeles. I moved here from Michigan about 12, 13 years ago. Michigan is where I was born and raised. Probably explains a little bit about my love for cars growing up not too far from Detroit. Um, and my grandpa loved to fix old classic cars. He actually bought me my first car, which was very exciting. It was a 1989 Grand Am. I feel like that's just an
Fun.
important fact to throw out there on a podcast like this. Um, and when he bought it, it didn't go over 30 miles an hour, so he had to fix it all up for me. And then told me after that that the car was too modern and he didn't want to work on it anymore.
That was modern.
Too modern, yeah. He was more into like old Plymouths and Model Ts and things like that. So, with that context, it kind of makes sense. But um, I've, in my life today, avid outdoors person, love hiking, camping, doing anything outside, especially if my dog's involved, and of course, driving. I get an extreme amount of joy from driving, whether it's on road, off road. Just love to be behind the wheel. So here I am.
That'll be the greatest because I know Avis does not like driving.
it does not bring me joy. No.
We had that conversation pretty early on, and the fact that navigating does bring her joy, I love that
Mhm.
because I'm kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum there. Um, I can do it, and with a lot of practice, I think I'd be decent at it. But yeah, it does not bring me joy.
That's the same thing
Yeah.
for Avis with driving, so perfect.
Yep.
With a lot
Hey,
of
I I'm
practice, she may be okay.
I'm a competent driver. I'm just not your girl for pushing the boundaries of the speed limit. I often on the highway look down and I'm like, "What do you mean I'm only going 65? The speed limit is 70." Like, how can it be 70? How are you doing 73?
It's the
I-
hardest for me after I went off-roading too, because I've been going slow and in the four low setting. And then whenever I hit pavement after I've aired up, it takes me a minute to be like, oh, I can drive faster.
you feel like you're flying through space and time once you're like on a comfortable road. Like, and
Yeah.
then, people might be trying to pass you and you're like, oh, right.
Yeah. Hey,
That's
Steph,
just my
so
natural state.
what made you move from Michigan to Los Angeles?
So my boyfriend and I didn't have a job here or anything, which was a little
Okay.
scary, but
Yeah.
we both really liked the idea of being here. Where I'm from in Michigan specifically, there's not a whole lot happening a lot of the year. Summer can be really beautiful. If you get a good snow, winter can be really beautiful, but there's a lot of really kind of in between weather that's not great. And I'm kind of from the sticks, so if you can't do stuff outside, like there's not a whole ton. It was a difficult decision though, because all of my family is
Mm.
still there. I'm very close with my family, so that continues to be the only thing that was difficult for me about it. Um, I had a house in Michigan though. I really thought, I was going to be there forever. Then when I met Stan, my boyfriend, on our first date, he just kept mentioning, well, I'm moving to LA. And like after the fifth or sixth time, I was like, all right, buddy, I get it. You're moving.
We're moving.
So yeah, I figured, whatever, this guy's cool. We'll date for a while until he leaves. He ended up staying. I like to think because of me, but I'm sure there were other reasons too. But then we visited Los Angeles together the first year we were dating, and then we just felt so at home here. It's weird when you
Mhm.
go someplace and it just instantly feels comfortable and like somewhere you know you want to be. So
Yeah.
we started scheming pretty shortly after that to figure out how to get here. Um, so that was that. It was a it was a hard thing to do, a little bit scary with no job prospects, but everything has worked out. You know, sometimes you just kind of throw yourself into something,
Oh yeah.
and the stars will align for you. And there's not a day that goes by that I'm not grateful that we made that decision, especially for stuff like, being outdoors, camping and hiking. There's so many things that are relatively close here, being on the West Coast,
Yeah.
to really so many different climates. Like, what do you want? You can find it.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. So you mentioned you love driving. What exactly do you
Mhm.
drive? And tell me about that.
So right now I'm in a 2024 Land Rover Defender. I work for Land Rover, I should
Oh,
say,
okay.
right off the bat. So I do get a job assigned vehicle. Normally we swap them out more frequently, but this one, I was able to ask them to build it specifically how I wanted it for the Rebelle Rally last year. And at this point, it's pretty dialed in. So I'm trying to hang on to it for as long as possible, and should be able to have it for this year's Rebelle Rally as well. Her name is Kendra the Defender. She's here for the party. Um,
That's
helps
awesome.
to give your car a name when you're trying to talk her through the difficult stuff.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm in currently. I've had a lot of different cars. Probably way too many. I would get one and think, okay, this is the one I'm going to stick with forever, and then
Yeah.
a year and a half, 2 years goes by, and your eyes start wandering, and something new comes out, and you make the switch.
There's always upgrades that's coming out, so I get that.
In
Yes,
Virginia,
absolutely.
you have we moved from Virginia, and in Virginia, you have the opportunity to renew your registration for 1 year, or I think it's 3 years. In our
Oh.
family, the kiss of
Hmm.
death is to renew your registration for 3 years. Like that's it. You've deemed that car no longer worthy, and it will be gone within a year.
Totally. Yep. As soon as you make that bet, nope.
Yeah, right. This is a car I like it so much. I'm gonna keep it for 3 more years at least. No,
So in Utah, how does that work in Utah? Is it still 1 year?
I think it's just yearly. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
That's the
sure
way it
it's
is
just
here. I
yearly.
didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
yeah. Rob's been taking care of it since we moved here, but I'm pretty sure it's just every year.
Yeah.
I don't
Hmm.
know. Plus, we've learned
That's
our lesson. We couldn't. It's not worth it.
It's not worth jinxing it.
Mm-mm.
that's
No,
the
no.
struggle we're having now.
Yeah, we've had so many cars. We have a friend, and when she has time on her hands and needs to do something, she sometimes tries to remember all of the vehicles we've had.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
And I
we've
should
had a lot.
say, in our household, Stan has 4 cars currently. So he's a car guy, obviously. Although after the rally and all of this, whenever we go somewhere car related, everybody's talking to me. So he jokes now I'm the car guy.
That's awesome.
Um, but he's got a little fleet. He's got a Rivian R1S,
Oh, okay.
a Ford Raptor. But then he has a 2005 Audi Avant that he's had for longer than we've been dating, and he'll be buried in that someday. And then the other one is one that he's currently trying to sell if there's anybody looking for a reasonably priced Model Y. He's trying to offload that right now.
So you have options if you want to, if you didn't want to compete in the Land Rover, you could also do like the Ford Raptor or the Rivian. Has that thought
Yeah.
crossed your mind?
Um, it had crossed my mind before, but with my connection with Land Rover, and honestly, I'm so comfortable in the Defender. I feel like I know it really well. I know exactly where it ends and begins. Um, I have this specific one so dialed in, and I feel like we're just like she's a really good teammate. Not that the other cars wouldn't be, but also this one, even though it's not technically mine, it feels like mine. So I feel like I can make a lot of decisions in that car that, it's a little tougher when it's someone else's car, even if that person's your partner. I don't want to be the one to, at the end of the rally, open up my, the box where my phone is and have to text Stan, by the way,
Your bumper is no longer attached.
yeah, about your rear quarter panel, anything like that.
Avis experienced exactly those words last year.
Yes, this is true. This is true. No, good answer, Steph, because I agree. If it's not your car, you're not going to be comfortable with it. So I know, like last year, Rob gave my teammate and I his Tacoma, and I was like, okay, but you're giving it to me. It is now my vehicle. My mindset is no longer I'm driving your vehicle, and because, like you said, you that's just too much responsibility, I think.
It's kind of a lot, and I think in some ways too, it might, like me personally, being wanting to be responsible with somebody else's thing might, not that I'm out there being, reckless, but it might hold me back from making certain decisions or, if I think the X route might be a risky if I'm in someone else's car, like,
Hmm.
ooh, I don't know. I would rather
Yeah.
have, Land Rover is obviously very aware of what I'm doing with my car. Obviously had to have their blessing to do that, and they were stoked to see it. So, um, if something, were to happen, I feel like that would be an easier conversation. Plus, I don't have to live with them, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So how long have you
Exactly.
been working for Land Rover?
I've been there for 5 years.
Okay.
Started on the after sales side, working with parts and service teams. I kind of liaise between the manufacturer and dealerships. And then got promoted a couple of years ago, and I cover still responsible for after sales performance as well, but mainly have a focus on the front of the house now in sales.
Okay. That's awesome. So
It's a good gig.
when you say you built out your Land Rover, how exactly did you think about that as far as prepping for the rally?
So there were just certain things I wanted. Like I knew I wanted a six-cylinder engine for very specific reasons. I knew I wanted certain accessories, but not others because I didn't want to feel like I had too much going on. Um, and obviously wanted tires that were going to be appropriate and a wheel size that was going to be appropriate. Um, and Land Rover really wanted me, obviously, to keep the car bone stock because it is their car. Um, but in terms of the options that I had, within what you can build on a Defender, I was given a little bit of free reign to pick and choose some things. So, and I did get the center armrest refrigeration option because, right down to those little things, like, wouldn't it be nice sometimes to have like a cool Red Bull in the afternoon versus one that's been, bubbling and kicking around in the back seat, and is room temperature. So we went with the Goodyear Duratrax for tires, and they were
Okay.
awesome. I did not experience any flat tires on the rally last year, which I was
That's
stoked
awesome.
about.
That goes for good driving too.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
I like to think so too.
I keep
Um,
telling her that, Cara. I keep telling her that.
They
and I'm
say,
like, the
that
tires.
the tire placement and everything, it's all in the driver's skill as far as that goes. And knowing when to how much to air down, tearing sidewalls, all of those things go into play for a
Yes.
driver.
Yes, and the airing down is key. I know there's a lot of schools, well, there's really two different schools of thoughts on that, but I'm always going to be the person who's going to air down.
Same girl,
Um,
same.
yeah, if not for anything else, just the comfort of anybody else in the car too. Like that's a
Hmm.
rough ride if you don't do that. But any trail ride I've been on, anybody who's hit a stick and they just had something as silly as a stick go through their sidewall, it's because they weren't aired down.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
for navigators like Avis, I'm sure she'll appreciate not having to like do this while she's driving down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah, there still will be some of that, but I'll avoid as much as I can, I promise.
I'm pretty durable. It's okay. It's okay.
That's awesome.
So you don't carry an extra fridge or anything like that during the rally. Have y'all thought about that? Like, I guess I want to know also real quick, how did you two meet? Tell me about this team dynamic here. How did y'all come together?
So I I remember Avis, like kind of in periphery, we were kind of in similar circles from the rally, but we never had like a moment where we had like an out and out conversation. But I remember knowing of her. And I had just posted, because I got waitlisted for the rally this year. I
Oh, okay.
was shocked at how fast it sold out, and
So fast.
I think like a month or something crazy. Um,
That's what reunions do to it.
I guess so. So when I heard from another team who I'm friends with that it was sold out, I was like no. I got my name on that wait list as soon as I could. And then when I found out in March that I got off the wait list and officially got registered and got my little, welcome to the rally letter, I had posted it on Instagram and we were already following each other on Instagram. So I'm not ashamed to say Avis slid into my DMs. It was like, hey,
How you doing?
yeah, how you doing? Um, but Avis, I mean, I'll let her take it from here, but I think, we were both cautiously optimistic about each other at first. But after a couple quick conversations, it became apparent we were pretty aligned.
Yeah. I was like, "So you're looking for a teammate. I'm looking for a teammate. Tell me about yourself. Like, what's your situation?" And we chatted a little
Do
bit
you
and then
like
we
long
gave
walks
some
on the beach? Like, what do you?
no. Um, we gave each other some references and I immediately reached out to the people that she had on her list and I was like, "Hey, you know what I want in a teammate? I'm chatting with Steph. What do you think?" And their immediate reaction was, "Yeah, go for it. She aligns well with you. She's the kind of driver that you're going to appreciate. She's not afraid. She's bold. She makes decisions quickly." And I was like, "All right, let's do it." And she was like, "Yeah, okay." I was like, "Do we need to sleep on it?" And we were both like, "Yeah." But the next morning, I was like, "All right, we're doing this." And she's like, "Yeah, let's do this." So we both have just kind of jumped blindly into it. And then, like 3 days after that, I think it was, I was like, "All right, peace out. I'm going to Washington for weeks on end, unknowingly how long, to have my first grandchild. So
Oh, yeah.
this is great.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks."
Yes, that's so awesome.
Yeah. So to date, Steph and I have not yet trained together. I have not yet experienced her driving. But we're doing the thing. We're committed. And we're taking a
Yep.
fridge too. We've already
Yes.
discussed that.
Yeah, we
Okay.
talked about it. I think that would be best just to try to have some better brain food options in the car throughout the day. And, if you're a little bit more comfortable in some small way, it just helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having a fridge out there, there's like I won't negotiate on a fridge and I won't negotiate on good like bed stuff. Like it's those
Hmm.
two things that's really and of course vehicle. My vehicle has her own on negotiables, but I have mine too.
Yeah. But Steph and I have
Totally
planned to
understandable.
get together Memorial Day weekend.
Yep,
So
coming
that's
up.
Oh,
coming up. I'm
what are y'all
excited.
gonna do? What are your are you excited? Like that's like
I'm
meeting like a long distance
I
relationship like
know. I'm a
person
little
for the first
nervous and
yeah, we have a long list and we're just going to start at the top and get through as many things as we can get through.
yeah,
So,
I
of
might
just
be
like
tempted.
different
I haven't
training.
huh?
I might be tempted to mess with her and drive really like slow at first. Be like, well, this is it. This is what you got.
Oh, good, good. Now that I know that's the strategy, I won't be so
Avis will
cold.
just Avis will just get you lost. So now
There
that's
you
good
go.
for her too. Now she knows what to do.
Perfect.
If I do this in the passenger seat, usually that means, "What the hell are you doing going so slow, lady?" Like, if I'm clicking my pen, I'm like, "Oh my god. I'm just trying to occupy my brain so that the words don't come out of my mouth."
Noted.
I
Now I'm gonna
love
live in
that.
fear of hearing that click.
If you hear the click, that means press the gas.
Like, oh
Just press the
God,
gas.
okay.
No, no. Steph has been working. She's been out there every weekend driving.
I
I'm
have
very
been.
happy.
Do
Thank
you
you.
go out and
Yeah.
practice there?
Yeah, as much as I can. I mean, it's it takes a couple good hours really to get somewhere where I can like kind of really go for it.
Hmm.
obviously with respect still to whatever area I'm in. 'Cause
Yeah.
last weekend, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I was out in the Mojave,
Mm,
which was awesome. So Stan and I did part of the Mojave Road, but also, cut off and on to some other trails to see some
yeah.
stuff while we were out there, which is always fun.
Yeah.
But really, in terms of, the speed limits that that area allows, practicing just being comfortable and the eye placement going, pushing the upper limits of how fast you can go in that area. Um, which is working on scanning the road ahead of me, but focusing as far down the road as I can. I did have, and I was laughing about this. I'm like, do I tell Avis about this or not? But I was like, yeah, I definitely tell her because it's funny.
I want
Um,
to hear.
I had, I'm always so good at spotting cross stitches. Like it's
Mm,
a point of pride. I've really never had one sneak up on me
Until
until that weekend. And I was going in at a decent clip, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I know what my limits are now because that thing jumped out at me so fast and definitely was an uncomfortable situation. My boyfriend and
hmm.
I always have radios. He was in his car behind me,
Oh, okay.
and I just hear this laughter coming over the radio. And are you okay? And do we need to stop? And I'm like, yeah, I think I need to stop for a second. So like,
Let's
get
check on
out.
the teammate.
Yeah, let's check on poor Kendra here, who's probably like, WTF. What was that? So checked on Kendra. I had my dog with me in the car, and she had been napping, luckily in the back seat, so she was all good. I was all good, and so once everything's okay, that's when you just start laughing. But it's like, okay, yeah, that wasn't great, but if I'm not pushing my upper limits of what I know I'm capable of, if I'm just going out there and doing what's comfortable every single time, I'm never going to grow as a driver.
Yeah.
So that was a good growth moment for me, and I figured Avis would see it that way too. Um,
It's definitely a good growth moment as far as that goes because, Emily always tells you, one, plan to get lost, and also like do the things that you're not good at or you don't like you can always practice the easy things, what you're good at, but then practicing like hitting a cross stitch. How do you respond? How does your mentality? Because it's also a good like mental check, like
mhm.
I'm a pretty good driver, but things can happen very quickly that can change everything.
Yeah, and it was a good test too, because I mean things got a little wobbly for a minute. So it's a good test of, what is your reaction? What are your reflexes to keep control of the vehicle when
Hmm.
you get thrown off a little bit like that? So, luckily everything was totally fine. And it was a good reflex test, and
Hmm.
like you said, just feeling what that feels like, and
Yeah.
knowing for sure I want to avoid that in the future. Thank you very much. um so that was good. And then this past weekend, Land Rover did a Women's Day event at their Land Rover Experience Center in Carmel, so I was invited to go there,
Oh, cool.
um, and be a part of that just as a speaker. And I was riding passenger all day, helping clients understand, how to utilize all the features of their Defender, and to get them comfortable off road. And it was such a fun group of women. Obviously, it's just different when it's all women.
Yep.
Like nobody's showboating, nobody's coming to it acting like, they know everything.
Hmm.
I feel like if it's a mixed group, there's usually going to always be one person, and it's
Hmm.
always going to be a guy who's going to be showboating a little bit or acting like they
Yeah.
know more than the instructors. Everybody
Yeah.
came to it, um, just really ready to learn and have a good time. And I got to meet some fun, adventurous people, and it was a great weekend.
Yeah, I just experienced that too. I went to Maris Adventure Park in Texas at the Paladero Canyon, and it was an all women's event called Adventure Her. And I've posted a couple of videos on our YouTube channel, and one of them has kind of went viral for like the wrong reasons. And there's so many guys that's in there saying that's just a dirt road, and it's just like this trail that's going down into the canyon where you hit the off-road obstacles, but you have to access the canyon that way. And it's just like, oh my gosh, my Camry could do this. And I'm like, one, videos never show like the angles, right? Like it never, and it was like
No,
30 degrees, and it was just like, cool, if your camera can come out there, let me know when you go because I want to video it,
I
you
want to
know, and
see it.
it's,
Hmm.
but it's just like, yeah, I totally understand. Women's events, they just have a different feeling as far as like everybody's out there to help lift the other person up, and it's just like this big, huge group. I can't explain it if you've never been to one, but they're incredible.
They really are. And I feel like the women who attend too, like they open up more about what they don't
Hmm.
know,
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
which I think is so critical. And it's critical to learning and growth to admit like what your starting point is. And, whether it's from experiences or whether they just feel that way on their own, who can say? But typically, if it's a mixed group with men and women, like they might not be as comfortable to come up and say, like, I've
Yeah.
never done this before. I'm starting from zero. And admit what they're not comfortable with and what they don't know. So
Yeah.
it was a really great weekend. And I got to meet sort of a Land Rover hero too, Daphne Green.
Mm.
She was the first woman to compete in the International Land Rover Camel Trophy in the
Nice.
90s. And she's done some other crazy events like that too. Just a total baddie. Also, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. So, to be in her company after having done the Rebel, I just felt like that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's super cool. So yeah, I want to touch on the Rebel because last year you and I were both rookies. How was the
Hmm.
2024 experience for you guys? And obviously the teammate didn't stick around this year or y'all had to split up or whatever. So tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
So, Land Rover, when they agreed to let me do this with my car, for the first time last year, they did so with the caveat that they wanted me to choose a teammate that worked for Land Rover also.
Okay.
So my friend Stacy, I knew her outdoorsy experience was kind of limited, but I also knew she's a tough cookie and she's not a quitter.
Yeah.
And I also know, like, we've been in the work trenches together, so I figured we'd be able to handle high pressure situations together and communicate well, and we really did. Um, of course, like any team, there were some moments throughout the week where we're probably,
Of course.
ready
Yeah.
to kill each other and walk away, but um, for the most part, we got along and communicated really clearly and really well. But it Stacy had never been camping before the Rebel,
Oh wow.
like had never slept in a tent.
This
Okay.
amazes me. Like, I am
So
so
like has
impressed by
never
women who are like, yeah, I've never been camping, but sure, let's do this thing.
yeah, I have
I'll do it.
questions. So had she set up her tent at home,
No,
practice?
nope,
Okay. Okay.
she wouldn't. So like she lived in Texas for most of the year leading up to it. She had moved to Tennessee right before the rally. And that was another thing about Stacy. She literally, when we did a navigation training in I think late August, early September, she came out for that and she had just closed on her house. So like she had like all these things up in the air. So I was like eternally grateful that she, came out and did her best.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I tried, like, I'll come to Texas. I'll come in the summer. I don't care. I know it's hot and sticky, but like we'll camp in your backyard, you know, with your dog right there. Like I just feel like you really need to try camping. And she was like, no, I've already committed to doing this rally with you. And if I try camping and I hate it, I'm worried that I'm like gonna want to back out on you. And I'm like, oh, say no more.
That
Um,
is impressive. I'm
sh
impressed.
yeah, it was very impressive. I have some really funny videos of her because she definitely had a princess tent. Um, we had the same tents, but she got this like really giant sleeping pad and this huge, huge sleeping bag, which I'm like, whatever. I don't care what you need to put in this car to feel comfortable. Like, go for it. So we
Yeah.
did a little tent tour the first night that we set up, and she was cracking me up. And um, I made sure when I saw a scorpion, I think the second night, I just didn't mention that to her
Mm-mm.
until later,
Nope.
like when we were,
Was never there.
nah, scorpions in the desert? No. But she also didn't have a lot of off-road experience either. We had done, a couple of trainings together. We did some Land Rover experience stuff, but it's a totally different environment.
Hmm.
Um, so she was not very comfortable with some of the things that I had to do. And I am pretty bold with my choices sometimes. And there were a couple of times that she just asked if she could close her eyes, and I said, "Sure, go ahead." Um, which was fine, but it gets a little tricky sometimes. Like it got in my head a little bit, like, am I crazy for thinking I can do that thing that's right there?
Yeah.
Like, should I not be doing that? But
Well,
then
if
I,
you take into consideration like her experience or whatever, there's some like you're gonna see things that you're like, I don't think that's possible, and you're like, yeah, hold my
yeah,
drink.
yes, exactly. Hold my Yeti. Um, but she did great. And she was so funny, like while I was doing the harder stuff, like she would be so quiet. And then
Because
she'd be
she's
like, "Oh,
terrified.
she'd be like, "Oh my God, you're so awesome. I can't believe you're doing this. Oh my God, that's
Aw,
amazing. Like, you're
you
so
need
good. I
that.
wouldn't be able to do this." And so that was always really nice. And then sometimes, though, she would just start yelling about, "What are you doing?" And like, "Why are we doing this?" And I would just start to lose it laughing because she's pretty funny too, like just very boisterous. Um, so for a rookie experience, I think we were a good team. Great communication. I feel like we were communicating by the end with a system of like grunts and nods, like any team. Um, we did have one moment that I thought was really funny because I kept hearing her introduce me to people as my coworker and friend, my coworker and friend. And then one night when she and I were zipping up our tents to go to bed, she said, "Don't worry, we'll still be good coworkers when this is over." And I just kind
That's
of
awesome.
Yes,
pulled my sleeping bag up like, "Okay."
We'll have checked still one box of the two.
that's
Yes.
the best. That's hilarious.
So,
You
but
know,
the
you
good
know how
news,
that's going if you hear that.
yeah, the good news, I'm happy to report we're closer friends than we were before the rebel. It took her about
Oh,
2 months, but she admitted that she had a really good time, and she did thank me for trusting her to navigate me through the wilderness, which I thought was a very sweet thing to say. Um, but man, how do you wrap up your rookie year without talking for 2 days straight?
hmm.
I learned so much about myself, um, so
Oh
many
my
life
god, the question is
lessons.
coming. The question is coming. I can read Kara's
No,
mind.
you
No,
let
no, I get to ask it.
this is my show.
Did you bring your fast money questions?
No, that's your
Ah,
part.
no, no, no. This is your show. Okay, sorry. I interrupted you for Kara's benefit, apparently.
That's okay. Now I'm dying to know what the question is.
Oh no,
Okay, Kara.
I gotta hear like your rookie year. Was it life changing for you?
It was. And I'm always been someone, if someone told me they've had a life-changing event, I've always been like, "Oh, okay," skeptical, like,
Which is what Avis is doing to you right now, just by the way.
I'm not. I am not. I respect the answer.
I'm
I just
relishing in this
am not in
moment.
alignment with it. Go
"Oh,
ahead.
okay,
Ooh,
that's
Tell us.
interesting."
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to all of ours and see if it's drivers that feel like it was life changing versus navigators. I'm gonna have to do some research on that.
Oh yeah, that
Maybe.
would be good. Okay,
Okay, go ahead,
tell
Steph.
us
Yeah,
why. Yeah.
Okay.
why me and you are right.
I mean, there's a few, love that. There's a few things that I took away from it and it's hard to summarize sometimes, but
Hmm. Yeah, it
one
is.
of the most important things for me is that I've always Monday morning quarterbacked myself so hard after, something has happened, I've made a decision and maybe it wasn't the right decision or I made a mistake.
Mm.
Um, really would beat myself up later and like it's just this struggle loop of like if I could go back, I would do this. If I could go back, I would do this, like and it's not productive. In fact, it's destructive for yourself and for your confidence. And next
Hmm.
time you're faced with a decision, it kind of, it almost adds a little bit of like analysis paralysis, like it slows you down in being decisive because, well, last time,
Yeah.
I did this and it didn't work out. So I think it took probably 3 or 4 days, like night 3 or 4, I was laying in my tent, just like staring at the ceiling of my tent, kicking myself for having made a choice that day.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden it was just like, doesn't matter. Like, what'd you learn? What'd you learn? Okay, great. Tomorrow's a new day. Move on.
Yeah.
You did the best you could with the information you had at that time. And that's why you made that choice. Like, trust yourself more. Be your own advocate. Like, you know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. You're not just flying around out here without a purpose. So that is something I've honestly had such an easier time just letting go of stuff like that ever since. I haven't looked back because it feels so good to know I'm a reasonably intelligent person, pretty thoughtful. So, if I make a choice to do something and it didn't go the way I thought it would, or if I even just make a dumb mistake, like, yeah, well, that's not like you. That was stupid. Oh, well, move on.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that to me was one of the biggest ones.
Did you journal last year?
I didn't. I had the full intention to. I brought a
Okay.
journal with me and a pen, and it was in my bag every night. But I literally crawled into my bed
And died.
between like 8 or 8:30 and died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there was no concern for me on sleeping during the rally because I was just so, I mean, you're making a million decisions a day. And
Hmm.
by the time you get done that day, you're just like,
A long day too.
yeah,
So
just
long.
out. So yeah, I fully had the intention of at least writing down my main takeaways. It never happened.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
did that.
journal?
I actually paid because I left my journal past the hour mark of my vehicle being impounded, and I actually paid the cost to go back out because it was that big of a deal. Because I wanted to be intentional with that one thing. For me, that was the one thing I could control. And I
Hmm.
could like make my journal and like summarize the day, talk about my weak points, how I can do better the next day, and then move on. Like, I really appreciate it because I can go back and look at it. And of course, it wasn't detailed because, I didn't have the map in front of me. There's a lot of things this year that I'm trying to get better as far as like the map. So like when you say you're talking about going through the Mojave and practicing your driving, well, I'm driving and just practicing at all times, knowing which direction I'm heading without a compass. And so I'm getting used to that as far as like the navigation goes. But I definitely want to get better this year as far as journaling. Like this is where we were at. This is the checkpoint. Like I want to get more present in the journaling rather than just emotional journaling. If that makes sense. If
Totally
I
makes
can.
Did
sense.
did you write that down so we can put it in our journal that we're gonna make?
Oh no, I haven't. Yeah, we did.
Make
Yeah,
a note
I
of that. Make a note of that
okay.
right now. Right
Okay.
now. I'm just
Okay.
kidding. Um, I also took a journal and wrote like 4 sentences, maybe twice.
Hmm.
Yeah. Cara and my teammate last year, she would journal for like 30 minutes in the mornings. I kid you
Mhm.
not. And I would be like,
In the
"What the
morning.
heck?" Yeah. I'd be like, "What the
Wow.
heck are you writing down?" Like, I don't
It's
have 30
gorgeous.
minutes of stuff I want to write down because I'm just exhausted and my brain is like, "Okay, done with that. It's gone. It's done. We're
I
moving
had
on to sleep now."
my journal was just like a passport size, and so I allowed myself like I had to write 2 pages, 2 pages a
2
night,
pages.
and so
Yeah.
like get it all out, whatever
Hmm.
feelings, anything like that. And so after the end of that, because sometimes I'm just so tired, but I wanted to make that like, but I also didn't want to be like go forever because you're
Yeah.
exhausted and you need sleep.
And I
So,
really wish I would have because I would love to go back and see the switch.
Hmm.
Because the
mhm.
first few days I was being so hard on myself. And to be totally honest, and I know she would say the same thing, me and Stacy's goals were not aligned in the beginning. We both
Okay.
wanted different things out of this rally. And, I kind of had to change mine because otherwise we would have been at odds with each other. It wouldn't have gone well.
Yeah.
I would have been feeling resentful. she would have felt that from me for sure and, behaved accordingly, like it would have been not cool, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and she had to make some adaptations too. Like she was at first not wanting to try any of the black diamonds. Um,
Okay.
and I was really pushing her to try them, and she was great at them. I think we only had like one or two wide misses the whole rally on a black diamond. Like
Hmm.
she was really good, especially never having done this before or anything
Yeah.
like it. So, we both I don't want to say we quite met in the middle, but there were concessions that we both had to make sure that
Mhm.
the team survived.
Yeah, and
Um,
and your goals can change throughout the week, right? Like you or
mhm.
day, like you could change them daily based on what you're doing. And I just made a middle note just for future reference, Avis. I would like to
Okay.
video journal. I want a video journal this year too. Like just do like
Video
a video.
journal.
So like put on my video and just video me and just like an end of the day
Mhm.
recap. But so Steph, what were your goals going into the rally this past year?
Going in, I knew the competition would be super fierce.
Mm,
Like, of course, the answer a lot of people want to hear is like, I was going to win. And I knew I was a rookie and was being a realist about it, but I wanted to go for rookie of the year. I
mm-hmm.
wanted to do, I wanted to do extremely well. Like if I could
Yeah,
be like top 25, that'd be impressive. I felt my first year, and definitely rookie of the year was a
yeah,
goal. But even within the rookie group, I knew the competition was fierce.
yeah,
Um, and I think Stacy's goal was to survive and to finish.
yeah,
And to her, to finish was a win, which is also a very good point for a rookie team. Even just getting to the
yeah.
starting line is a win. It takes a lot.
It does.
So, so yeah, there was definitely, some reconfiguring of goals that we had to do. And we never had like a, formal sit down team meeting about it. It just kind of, we both realized like we need to meet each other somewhere
Yeah.
along the spectrum here.
I
We
think that
can't
it's
keep
a
pushing.
I think it's important to have that sit down, full on discussion of goals before the rally. And also
Mm-hmm.
like we had multi layers. Like we had our top goal was winning the rally. We know that's unrealistic, but it's still there. It's still you never know what can happen. And as long as you have something to constantly push towards, and that's why I
Hmm.
mentioned the different layers of goals, because we wanted to get rookie of the year and we wanted to be top, whatever 20 or whatever it was. But if you didn't hit one, there was always going to be a goal that you could hit because the bottom goal for us was finishing and finishing well. And so,
Hmm.
as long as, and that way you still feel like you've accomplished one of your goals. Was it the level that you wanted? Maybe not. And then how will you deal with that as a team together? That's why I think that discussion is important. So, have you and Avis gotten together and talked about this year's goals?
We have, but I think we probably will do more when we meet in person.
Yeah.
That Memorial Day weekend, I feel like is going to be more than about chasing checkpoints for us. Like we have a lot to
Oh,
talk.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first conversations we had. Avis asked me something like, "Are you willing to train to win?" And I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah. Well, because
She's intense. I know.
anybody who knows me knows that's my goal, right? And if you can't say,
Yeah.
"Yes, I think I can win," then you're not a good teammate for me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because
So
whether it's realistic or not, if you don't think you can, you're not going to. Because right? Like,
Yeah.
self-fulfilled
mind
prophecy.
believes the
Absolutely.
words you say to yourself, and if it's not a
Yeah.
goal that you focus on or that
Hmm.
you have any belief in yourself,
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
like, you can't be my teammate
I think
because
it's I think that's a quote like if you think you can or if you think you can't, you
You're
will.
right.
you're right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
And now,
Yeah.
like having been through my rookie year and knowing the game a little bit
Mhm.
better, by a little bit, I'm being modest. Obviously, we all learn a
Right.
ton. Um, but as a rookie coming in, there's just so much you can't understand about the Rebel until you do it.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So having that experience under my belt and knowing myself as a driver, and having, recently done some other training too, in earlier this year, I went to one of Shelby Hall's navigation
I
trainings,
wish
and
I could have went to that so bad.
oh, it was really fun. You'll have to come next year.
I'm hoping, well, I asked Rory to see if she's going to do another one this year, and I'm
Oh,
hoping
okay.
she will.
Yeah,
We'll
Oh,
see.
nice.
I would
We'll see.
totally do another one. Just a really
Oh,
fun
cool.
group. She and Shelby did a great job putting it together. Like really
They're
good.
great people.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
awesome.
That's one of the
Um,
best ways to propel yourself in knowledge. It's the whole see one, do one, teach one. You learn so much by teaching other people.
Oh, yeah.
mhm.
So it's really beneficial for them too, because somebody is gonna ask a question or present something to them in a way that they never even conceptualized, right? And so
Hmm.
they're benefiting from that other point of view. So
Hmm.
that's why, like, I personally, I love teaching people or helping people expand their knowledge, however you want to say it.
And you can go to like, we went to a lot of trainings last year because Rookie of the Year was definitely our goal. And so and we may hear some general same things, but you get experience from each individual's, year that it's just like, oh, I can take a
Yep,
little bit, like you
Mhm.
can pick and choose what you apply. And it's just those little things are huge nuggets of information.
absolutely. And talking to some of the more experienced rebels, and
Hmm.
I'm excited to learn a lot from Avis too. Like that's her going into her fourth year. I feel like, that's a lot
Yeah.
of experience coming to the table. And yeah, doing Shelby and Rory's training and picking their brains a little bit is like mind expanding.
It just occurred to me that me and you are both with veterans this year. Like for some reason that
Oh
just occurred to me.
yeah.
You're with Avis, who's done it 4 years, and I'm with Holly, who's going to be doing it 6. Like it's
That's
like
awesome. Look at
that's
us. Look at us
that's
year
interesting.
twos.
Look at you go, ladies. Look at you go.
Does that make you feel a little I mean, obviously it's awesome, but also does it make you feel like a little like I know a lot as a driver, but I mean, I don't know. I just to me it's making me now I'm feeling kind of daunting. Like I don't want to let her down even more because she's like super experienced. I don't know
Yes.
why I'm just now having that realization and now I'm like panicking a little bit. I
You're
need to
like,
text
ha.
her.
Yes, but in the best way possible, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
I
I mean, I'm just any
Yeah,
other teammate, and you don't wanna let any teammate down,
that's
True,
right?
right.
Like,
true.
I'm not like, "Oh, it does Steph's a year too, it doesn't matter what I do." No, I'm like, Steph is my teammate. I have high goals and high expectations. I am only gonna accomplish that if I bring my best to the table to
Yeah,
match her best, right? So,
Okay, thanks. I needed to
absolutely.
hear that.
Yeah, that's very nice to hear. Thank you, Avis. And
yeah.
for me, as of the year too, like I know I'm a good driver. I know the qualities I'm bringing to the table. But that said, like knowing your experience level and how, practiced and good you are with navigation, it
Meet
makes
that.
me want to meet you at that level. It makes me want to train all that much harder because I'm like, I have to be on her level.
Yeah,
So it is in the back of my mind, but it's the most positive motivation I think I can have because I always, in anything in life, whether it's my romantic partner, my friends, my family, my teammate, I want to be the best other half I can be, if that
hmm,
makes sense.
yeah. So many
Right.
people
Fair.
say like 50-50, 50-50, but I've always said 100-100.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what are you looking to improve on this year as far as I know you said you're out there practicing your driving and tire placements and things you
Hmm.
don't know. But based on everything from last year's rally, what can you use from last year that you're like, I didn't do so well during that rally last year. I want to try to do better this year.
Definitely pacing, both behind the wheel and also just time management of the day. It's obscene how fast a day can fly by when you're out
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
So having a better grasp on reality in terms of, if a particular day is getting really tight, like taking a step back and looking at the plans for the day and like, okay, well, maybe we need to adjust, to maximize and not miss any of the checkpoints we really want to get.
Hmm.
Of course, we really want to get them all, but there's days you have to make concessions, and knowing how to strategize in the morning and then re-strategize throughout the day, that's not something I feel like me and my teammate were particularly strong at last year. And that's one of
Mhm.
those things that I think you really can only learn by doing the
Oh,
rally,
absolutely.
to feel the crunch of it. And
Especially as the week goes by.
yeah, and the walls just keep
Yeah.
closing in on you. So
And
that's something.
that is definitely something that like Holly and I bring to a year 2 team. Is pace. You know, we really understand the pace and can really like help expand that knowledge base for you guys.
Yeah. So,
Awesome.
Avis,
I'm
what
so
are you
proud.
what are you looking as like having going into the rally multiple years? What is I mean obviously you want to win. That's
Mm.
the main goal in all of this. But like what are you wanting to improve on as far as the team dynamics go?
For me, pace. I've been working on, you know, you come out of your year 1 and you're like, okay, I can make communication changes and things like that. I feel like going into year 4, like I understand what communications need to happen in the car. I mean, my 4th year, my 4th teammate, each teammate is slightly different what they need or
Mhm.
don't
Mhm.
appreciate. So you have to figure that out. But for me personally, yeah, just pushing the pace and getting all the points, because if you get all the points, you win, right? So yeah, I mean, just as many points as possible is the name of the game. And to do that, efficiency is key. So just breaking everything down into the most efficient manner, understanding when you get somewhere, are you where you think you are? Is it time to click or is it time to move on? And just making
Yeah.
those decisions so fast, which takes a great deal of communication, understanding, and trust. Um, so yeah, basically just being
Overall
being more
pace.
accurate, being faster, like all around. Yeah. I mean,
So
just
Steph, are you how do I say this without saying it? I'm just gonna say it. So do
Just
you
say it.
are you a Philly person? Are you black, white, matter of fact? I just need to know if this is complimenting or if this is like the rising of the Titans here.
You know, I can kind of be both. I can be whatever the situation calls for. I'm pretty
Like how do you
adaptable.
respond? How do you respond if you make a mistake? Are you like crying or are
No,
okay.
no. It's tears are not something that's come super easy for me.
Okay.
So,
But what if
and
it comes from other people? Is that accepted or is that just like get over
yeah,
it? Okay,
I
okay.
mean, I'll give you your minute, I'll give you your time to cry and like if that's how you need to process it, but we can't let it take the whole day, right?
yeah. She's like, your
You can't
60
let it throw you
seconds
off.
started 5 seconds ago, Avis. So get over that now.
How
Which
many
I could
tears per minute can you fit in?
so
But
Cara, just for reference, is my most feeling friend.
hmm
She feels everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. If you say
Also, your
oh in the
feelings.
yeah, if you say oh in the wrong tone, she was like, "Are you mad at me?" No, no, I'm not. Well, I'm not mad at you. Are you sure?
That was
Yes,
really
I'm
short.
sure.
I feel like what's
it's
I feel, and then we're like, okay, tell me what are you okay? Like what else is going on to make that oh in that tone?
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, "Oh my god, just stop it. We're fine. I still love you. You still love me.
Yeah.
Stop it."
Yeah. And then we're good. I was like, okay, so that was just really you having a weird tone moment. Perfect.
yep. And I have moments in my life where I can be like that too. It just kind of depends on the
Yeah.
situation. But no, especially in a rally environment, like you know, we're just trying to be efficient, do the best we can do, and get it done. And sometimes we're hungry, sometimes we're stressed.
Hangry.
There, yeah, there might be a tone that, that's not the tone Avis would normally use with me, but like, it's just, and of course, this is me saying this now. We'll have to do this podcast together again after the rally, but
I
like,
cannot wait. No, I want to do it after your training to see what you
oh
did.
yeah.
Like we got to regroup and see how. Like, okay, if Steph does not want to join, we know something has happened. But I'm just going to give you a little
Kara's gonna be
insight.
like, blink twice if she's too
Yeah,
intense.
it's okay. You have my number. You can reach out to me. So she needs snacks. Avis needs snacks. Like you've got to be on her about her snacks, her hydration.
I did the same thing for my teammate last year.
Perfect.
I
I
need
see
to be
this going
better about
well.
doing it for myself, to be honest. But I did have, and we'll have again the camelbacks on the
Yep.
back of the seat to hydrate. Um, but then, I would casually give her snacks throughout the day. We had a pact going in that if the other one was being a jerk at any point, our
Shove a Snickers in their mouth.
yes was to give her candy. Like we knew each other's favorite candy ahead of time. We bought each other's favorite candy. And
Aw.
if the other one was being a jerk, the plan was to, for me, Stacy would have handed me a Reese's peanut butter cup and walked away and not said a word. And I wasn't allowed to fight it. I wasn't allowed to argue and say, no, I'm not. Meh, meh, meh. I just would, the point would be to eat the candy, take my moment, and then regroup.
And be
Um,
appreciative that she gave you the candy.
exactly. Luckily, we never got to that. We did a lot of self-medicating with candy, but we never had to force it on the other one. But there were a few really intense moments. Like one time we were very turned around, but we ran into a couple of other teams who were also extremely turned around. And there were like four navies on the ground with a map, all like working together to solve this problem. And I have nothing to add. So I just went to the car and made Stacy a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and that's my contribution. Like, you need food for your brain.
You have a
I'm
role. You still have a
yeah,
role in that matter. Yeah, like you may not be able to help with the navigation, but you're like, okay, what can I be doing right now while she's working on that? If she's going to be hungry after she eats that, has she had a drink? Do I need to fill up waters? Like there's
yeah.
still things. Yeah.
Yeah, and there
Oh,
was there was one intense moment where I think we were both getting really irritated with each other, and
it'll happen.
it had been a very silent car ride for about, half an hour, and Stacy had got out to click a checkpoint, and I just had a moment. I'm like, "What are you doing? Get over yourself!" Like, and when she came back, there was beef jerky or something on her seat, and I was like, "Have a snack." I'm having one. I think, that's the problem.
Yeah,
And we had our snacks and had a great rest of the day. So you know, it is what it is. There's gonna
absolutely.
be there's gonna be moments, but we have to take care of each other. And I do feel like, the Navy is doing so much work looking down and figuring the route and refiguring the route when the first one didn't work out and all of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
driving has its own challenges, but I try to be mindful of just making sure my teammates taken care of. I told Avis the other
Yeah.
day in the morning, I will bring you coffee, I will get you breakfast. Like, what do you need? I'm your girl.
Yep.
So I think, we'll be good there.
Yeah. Yeah, when she was like, "I make sandwiches," I was like, "Oh, sign me up."
Which is part of the reason we decided to have a fridge this year because, makes that a
That
little bit
sounds
easier.
delicious. Cold
I
peanut
can't
butter and jelly
imagine. I can't
sounds
imagine
delicious.
not like doing the rally. Like Nina doesn't do it with the fridge, or she hasn't. Maybe she has a couple years. I don't know, but I know she does. She typically just does stuff that isn't dehydrated or hydrated or refrigerated, and um, I can't imagine. Like I need like the ranch at the end of the day. That was the best ranch at the tents that for the salads.
Oh, the
Oh, it was
snacks
cold.
before dinner? That was life-changing. You wanna talk about life-changing, that was life-changing.
Yeah, I need to
See,
I
get,
was like,
we're gonna be on that bandwagon this year.
I hope
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that
okay,
was the
so
best.
Avis, do you think like obviously the rally is daunting and intimidating because it's just such a big deal, right? And we all know that because we've all done the rally. Um,
Mhm.
but do you think it being the 10th year, do you think it's going to be even more like are you lowering your goals based on all of these people that are coming back and who are like in it to now prove that they have what it takes from the years that they did it?
No.
No.
I'm not gonna lower my goals based on the other people that are coming because I'm putting my all into reaching my goal, so
But
no
are
matter
you
what
intimidated?
happens
Like
no.
you're okay. Of course you're not. Maybe I need to get with my people. It's fine.
And you shouldn't be either. You're bringing your best, and we're there to see how we stack up against everybody else. We all hope to win, but only one team can win,
Yeah.
right? So, like, we all come with the same goal, top goal, Only
Yeah.
one of us is gonna make that top goal, and that's okay, but I'm not gonna make it easy for you. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna beat me, you're gonna have to bring more than
Yes.
I bring to the table.
Yeah.
And
I told
I don't wanna beat you because you brought less either. Like,
right.
I
There's
want
a
you to bring your best because I
yep.
wanna beat you at your best.
Yeah, that's exactly the conversation I had with somebody this past weekend. I was like, there's some people that don't like talk about. I mean, every team has their little niches and how they work things throughout, but for the most part, I'm an open book, and so it's just like, I want everybody to have that knowledge or the general knowledge, so that way I can beat you with that knowledge. Because if I'm holding something back, that's not. I want everybody. I want it to be level, so that way you can
Hmm.
Yeah,
work your butts off.
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, you
No
don't know how to do
asterisk next
enduro
to a
math?
win.
Hit me up. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You can ask. I've helped numbers of rookies. Like, they come over to my house. I show them
Oh yeah,
all the basics. We spend days on making sure that if they go to the rally tomorrow, they can do an enduro. They can find a checkpoint. Like, you need all the basic skills because if you don't have that, I'm just beating an infant, and that's no fun, right?
yeah,
So, like, bring it, bring your best because I'm bringing my best, and Steph's
yeah.
bringing her best, and she's out there
Mhm.
working it, and we're all working our skills, right? Because
Yeah.
we we all want to win, and if you don't want to win, that's fine.
It's just a
You're not
different,
gonna
yeah.
win. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
so
never going to
It's
win with
just a
that
different.
attitude.
It's a
Yeah.
different
no.
game. It's a different game for you if you're wanting to experience it a different type of rally, and you can. There's nothing wrong with that. You can come out there and have beautiful scenery.
Yeah,
The rally and the crew and
sure.
everybody there is amazing. Are y'all gonna do any other trainings? But like, what is your plan as far as trainings go besides Memorial Day?
So Steph was diligent in making me write down one weekend every month. So we have
Way to
one
keep
weekend
her
every
on her
month.
toes.
Yeah. She was like, we were talking the other day, and she's like, "Okay, now this month," and I was like, "Oh, we're doing that now. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna write that down." So and then we're doing Sand Mountain together, and then from Sand Mountain coming straight here to St. George
Awesome.
for the Labor Day weekend.
Awesome. So,
So
y'all doing any of the Rebel U stuff or any of the trainings during the summer-ish, do the trials or anything?
we don't have anything like that on the
Okay,
books. No.
Yeah, I
Um,
gotcha.
might fit in like a sand dune rebel or something, but or just figure out some other sand dune work specifically because that's just such a completely different area
Hmm.
of driving, and
Yeah,
your palms
just
should
to keep it
always be a little
fresh.
sweaty in the sand dunes, but I want to keep mine as least sweaty as possible and just have some
Yeah.
good reflexes.
I have a
yeah.
couple different shades of glasses that I wanted to try in the dune, so I definitely want to get out to Glamis at least one more time this year.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm imagining one of the weekends we have already written down or some weekend that we add, we meet up in Glamis and
Yep.
have some fun there.
You'll have
Yeah.
to
But
let me know. I could join in and just
Oh,
like
that'd be
drive
great.
and just
would
just
it be?
do,
Do we want her there, Steph? Just
Ooh, I
kidding.
don't know. Just
I am your
learn all my weak
competition.
points. I know
But
that's the
then you can
funny
learn
part
mine
too.
too, so right?
That's true. The funny part is finding that defining line, like when does the camaraderie end and the
Mhm.
competition begin? It's a funny.
Prologue.
Hmm. Yep.
Prologue. No, no, because it's a
Just
little
kidding,
bit you guys
Mammoth, when we're seeing you and we're checking you out.
do you watch Survivor? So it's a little bit like Survivor. Like you need some allies to survive the
Yeah.
week, right? Like you have
Yep.
to pick people like if you get something in your morning papers and you're like, "Oh my god, like this broke my brain." You can
Hmm.
go to Cara and be like,
Yeah.
we're both
Yep.
drivers and this part broke my brain. Like, can I
Or
bounce this
checking
idea off of
checking
you?"
our enduro math. Like,
Yep.
out there,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
what increment, like you do need to have that. But then it's like that doesn't mean that you're going to go out there and hit those waypoints and you're not going to be able to keep the speed of your vehicle steady. Like those
Right.
things are
Yeah.
things you can't
Mhm.
adjust.
Or, like I've been kind of turned around and thinking I was somewhere and somebody else was there and I've been like, "Hey, are we here?" Like neither
No,
one of
we're a
us want a
wash
wide
over.
miss. Yeah,
Yeah.
right? So neither
Hmm.
one of us want a wide miss and if we're both in the same place and we're both confused, maybe we're like, what are you thinking? What are you reading? Like how do you see this map, right? So you
Yeah.
kind of need allies.
And especially
and a
on
pie.
Doomsday, because there's a
So
lot of teams on Doomsday that kind of like roll together, at least one group or two. I prefer like just two. Like if you can do two and
Yep.
two, like that's the best right there.
Yep.
yeah,
I
You get
think, I
too
and
mean,
many
me
just
and
for
Avis
opinions.
can
safety.
flow.
Yeah. You don't want too many opinions, but just for safety too and ease of recovery if one of you gets stuck.
Absolutely.
Like, yes, of course, we can all get ourselves out if we need to, but man, is it so much easier when you have a car there with a recovery
Yep.
rope or a winch, It's
Yeah,
takes a lot
Absolutely.
less time and sweat.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are you going to any of the Overland Expos this year, Steph, or do you do any of those? I know me and Avis are going to try to get to some of them.
Oh, you'll have to keep me posted. I know
Oh
there's
yeah.
one, I feel like, is there one coming up in Orange County, I believe, or maybe that
There's
already.
there's
That one
no
already
that one
passed.
that one
Oh,
was already
okay.
happened. The next one is West, which is in Flagstaff, and then there's the
Oh,
PNW, which one was in Redmond. But I
okay.
know me and Avis are going to be at the PNW one because after that we're going to be doing like the Rubicon stuff.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep me posted. We'll have to check in on that because if I can make that happen, I would.
You should, because
Yeah.
Azure is over that, and she's a rebel, and so she does like a whole women's, and there's like usually a rebel like panel talk, and I know
Oh,
my
cool.
Hmm.
teammate's going to be flying in for a day, and
Hmm.
so that would be cool to have us all there. That'd be really neat.
Yeah,
Oh, that would be.
absolutely.
You
Yeah,
have to
let's
let
talk
me know.
about
I
that.
didn't know Holly was flying in. You have to let me know what
Hmm.
day.
Yeah, I'm getting some of her stuff. She's bringing me because if you lose things flying, you can't replace it very quickly. So we're trying to get things given to me to put in my vehicle. So because my rally rig is rally, so.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
nice.
anyways, cool. Well, I can't wait to compete with y'all, and I can't wait to see this relationship grow. I know we've hit an hour, so I want to be respectful of y'all's times.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. And honestly, like, being Avis's teammate, having pulled me into this group of other rebels is really exciting to me. I feel like I've got a really good group of people I can reach out to now with
Absolutely.
questions or to bounce things off of you. Everybody's been very welcoming, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I feel like I've got a good like inner circle going now, whereas last year, I knew some people going in, but I don't know if I necessarily had that level of support. So that
Yeah.
alone is super exciting. And every time I talk to Avis, I'm more convicted in my decision to jump in head first because
Yeah.
she's awesome. And I
Oh,
think
thanks.
I think we will get along really well and do really well together. So it's all exciting stuff.
Agreed. Agreed. I appreciate Steph's chutzpah, if you will, to be like, yeah, sure. We don't really know each other, but we seem to align. Let's do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
The
My
goals
favorite,
aligning are huge.
yeah,
yeah.
yep.
Plus
And my favorite
attitude.
part
I
was
mean,
we agreed to sleep on it for a few days, but then Avis texted me at like 9 o'clock the next morning, like, I'm in. Are
mhm,
you in? I'm like, I'm in.
yeah,
I mean, there
Yep.
has to be something that says, say yes to the things that set your heart on fire. And if you can feel it, you pretty much feel it. And if you both have that like drive, like you can feel it. You can feel it out. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
yeah.
But
Well, the first date I had with my husband, I came home from, and my best friend and my cousin, who I was close to at the same time, they were like, "So how was it?" And I said, "That's the man I'm going to marry." So I think
Aw.
sometimes things happen and
Yeah.
you just know in your gut. And I think
yeah,
this was one of those times I was like, I
yeah,
think she can handle my personality, my bluntness, my directness.
yeah.
And she seems great. She gets great reviews. I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna do the thing." So,
Yes,
here we
we
are doing
are.
the
Do
thing.
y'all have a team name yet?
No, we're
We
working on
haven't,
it.
though I did think of kind of a funny one the other day, that we can put on the list to choose from because we jumped into this without knowing each other, really.
Uh-huh.
We could be Team Stranger Danger.
It's true. I kinda like it.
That's
Okay, I'm
hysterical.
writing it down, I'm
Yeah.
writing it down. Let's
That's
sleep
awesome.
on it.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with it.
Well,
So,
well, yeah. We'll get a list of a few to choose from and narrow it down to there, but that one can be on the list.
Okay, I
that's
love it,
awesome.
I love it.
Awesome.
Alright, ladies, thanks so much.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you so much coming on here, and I can't wait to see this develop.
This has been great.
So,
Thanks for having me.
yeah.
Mm.
All right. Bye.
All right,
Bye.
bye.